Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for episode number 3 of this year's Christmas calendar here on my channel, where I'm ranking all of the songs that have finished in each kind of position in Eurovision from the year 2000 up until 2025. There have been 2 episodes before this. The first one I talked about all of the songs that have finished 25th, 26th and 27th in the respective Eurovision years. And yesterday I talked about all of the songs that have finished 24th place. So reasonably enough, 3rd of December today, I'm talking about every song that has finished in 23rd place. I'm doing this every single day up until Christmas Day. Where I will be talking about all of the winners then, of course. But today, all of the focus is on the 23rd ranked songs. You can see them down here below me. You see all of the songs that have finished in 23rd from 2000 up until today. There is one little blacked out box there, and I think everyone can understand that that is from the year 2020, of course, where Eurovision did not take place, and therefore we do not have a 23rd placed ranked song from 2020. So there are 25 of them, which means that there's also a little bit of a blank slot in the bottom right corner here of the screen as well, because there are only 25 songs and 25 is an odd number, so I can't make it perfectly symmetrical. Hopefully it looks okay either way. This is the design of the scoreboard, how it's going to be from every episode from now on, because every single position has 25 songs in it from the year 2000 up until today, basically. 25 songs, I will be ranking them from the bottom, working my way up to the best one in just my personal opinion. Completely subjective, there's no real professional judgment going into this. It's just for what I'm feeling like, what my favorite songs are, and yeah, please do share your thoughts in the comments if you want to share how you would rank these songs. I'm going to be starting us off, though, with the song that I'm placing in 25th, which might be a song that I'm not the only one who would place in 25th place on this list. Happy You is a song that represented Lithuania all the way back in 2002. And from just looking at the songs that I have in front of me here, there will be a lot of the older songs that will be towards the bottom of this list. Not that I'm against the older Eurovision years, but obviously if you finish 23rd out of 24 songs back in the day, you tend to be worse than a song that actually qualified for the final, because if to finish 23rd these days, you need to have qualified from the semi-final. So there tends to be a lot of the older songs towards the bottom here, and Happy You is definitely one that would be towards the bottom regardless for me, because I've never really enjoyed this entry. It tries to be quite fun and uplifting, but the execution is all over the place. The vocal performance is honestly quite atrocious. I'm terribly sorry to be rude, but it's not a pleasant one. The song feels a bit too plastic and formulaic and doesn't really have a lot of substance to it. I just can't connect with it. It tries to be happy, but it's not really making me happy. It's more making me want to move on to the next song, which I will do. And I kind of have a little bit of a shiver going down my spine when I think about the song that I've placed in 24th here. I'm going all the way back to 2007. When the Brits decided to unleash Scooch on the rest of Europe with Flying the Flag for You, which is, I can understand the ambition. I can understand why someone thinks this is quite fun and quite charming. I'm just not one of those people. I think this is rather obnoxious, and the beat is not helping it for sure. This kind of Eurodance beat that it's got is very just kind of hammered into the production here, and it does not leave my head. The whole ad-lib things that they're doing with wanting something to suck on for lunch or whatever it is he's saying. It's just a lot of aspects about this that are turning me off and making me not very intrigued or engaged by this. The chorus is quite annoying. Everything about the presentation feels overly tacky, and yeah, it's not an entry for me, simple as that. But it has a little bit of a cult status, I suppose, which is nice for it. 23rd place, speaking of which, I suppose, we got a little gospel tune back from 2006 here from Israel. Together We Are One is the name of the song, which, to be completely honest, I wouldn't be entirely against if it wasn't for the fact that it turns into something quite absurd towards the final minute. The vocal arrangement becomes all over the place because everyone is supposed to get involved on stage and they overpower each other, and there is this lady who started off the song with the piano. She's trying to steal the show towards the end with some of the more shrieking vocals that I've come across in this competition. It's not all too bad leading up to that moment, but the final minute of the song is just way too much. It becomes very tough for me to sit through, and I'll just have to drag it down the list because of that. Not a lot of the other songs down here are particularly much to write home about either, I would say, but in 22nd place I've gone for Disappear from Germany in 2008. And mainly, I think the main reason why I've put this one all the way down here is due to a vocal performance or vocal performances that are just not that pleasant to listen to. The chorus in particular stands out as rather feeble with the vocals that they have at the moment. The song is a rather simple pop tune and it's accessible for what it is. I do believe it actually got a 12-pointer back in the day. And of course it beats the tiebreaker against both For Life and Even If. They scored the same amount of points. Two songs that I've talked in the previous two videos about because they got a 12-pointer. So yeah, I explain the tiebreaker rules in the description if you want to take a look at that. But yeah, Disappear is certainly not one of the songs that I return to from 2008. There are a lot of highs for me in 2008 and a lot of very low lows. And unfortunately for Germany, they kind of get categorized into the latter category there. A simple pop tune at its core, but it's the execution that kills it for me. And I don't think I can really say the same about the song that I placed in 21st. We're still in the back, like we're still in the older songs here. I'm going with Na 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 from Slovenia in 2003 in 21st place here. Rather anonymous mainly for me, I would say. And it's kind of strange because 2003 is a year that I like so much. And, you know, it's 25 songs and then this one is obviously lost in the running order. And I always just, oh yeah, this is kind of an anticlimax to end on. Obviously, you know, the running order was randomized back then and you can't really help that, but it just feels like such a nothing song for me for whatever reason. It's kind of cheerful and it has a bit of a electronic thing going for it. The production of it is certainly trying to be contemporary, but it's something with the sound design is just quite off. There are a lot of overly digitalized sounds that just kind of sound more like, you know, ringtones or whatnot, and those kind of small motifs scattered around the song, they're more frustrating and distracting than anything. It feels like the song is going all out on this kind of club beat that it's using, trying to be quite charming as well in terms of the vocals, and none of it is really working with me. I just don't particularly enjoy listening to it. And it is what it is. It's not horrendous, but I just don't really care for it. I'm sorry. In 20th place, we're going with a bit more of a modern song here. It's only 10 years old. In the Name of Love from Poland in 2015. Now, it's not horrible, certainly not, but it's just the most predictable of sentimental ballads that I can think of. I just never enjoyed this overly just kind of trying to tug at your heartstring kind of ballad. There are different ways to execute that, and I feel like this one is just following the most formulaic and simplistic ideas, does not spark my interest. And people can say that about, you know, other ballads that I maybe like, but at the end of the day it all comes down to subjectivity, and this is one of those ballads that just does nothing for me. It feels like they really want to use the concept of the performer obviously having this horrific injury which put her in a wheelchair, and you know, they play the clips in the background of the performance, if I remember correctly, or maybe that was just a music video, but it's like really like they try to hammer home like feel sorry for her, and that's not how I want to approach a situation like this. I feel like you really should you don't need to force people to sympathize with you in order for them to actually sympathize with you, and this one it feels a bit forced for me, so I'm not a big fan of that aspect of it. That might be a terrible take, but it is my take. So 19th, staying with a bit more of the modern tunes here, we got Lighthouse from Croatia in 2016, a song that I really liked before the show actually took place. I thought the production quality of the track was quite nice. I thought that it sounded very contemporary for the time. But now looking back at it, mainly the thing that I remember is, of course, a rather strange performance of everything that surrounded this entry, I would say. The vocals are quite shrill and distracting in that sense. I think the whole outfit thing, I don't usually put much judgment into that because I don't know anything about outfits and fashion and whatnot, but it's a distracting one, that's for sure. And it kind of just takes away from my impression of the song here, so I'm not particularly enjoying the execution of this entry. As a studio cut, I think the song is fine. It's an accessible little pop tune, perhaps not the catchiest or the most immediate, but has some things going for it. Presentation, not for me. 18th place, a song that I certainly don't have a lot to say about. Coming Home was the Maltese song in 2014, and it is there. I mean, for me, it definitely just made up the numbers in the final 2014, in the lack of other songs taking that place, I would say. It is somewhat, harmless, mainly, I would say. There's nothing really superbly wrong with it. It's just quite anonymous to me. Very forgettable. I do not really care for any of the songwriting aspects that they have in this one. Has a neat little instrumentation that I suppose is quite charming, but also, of course, very fitting for the time that it was released back in 2014. You had a lot of songs getting popular with this more acoustic and stomp, clap your feet. I don't know, but that kind of approach in music, and I guess it kind of just played on that and got Malta a 23rd place, and that's about it. 17th on my list, I'm going with a Spanish little tune here, Que me quiten lo bailao, which is cheerful. It's very joyous. It's kind of fun in that regard. There's a little bit of fun choreography to it, but at the end of the day, that's kind of all I feel from it. It is sing-along friendly. It's very inviting and charming in that sense, but I'm quite tired of it, or from just watching the recap clip, really. I don't need 3 minutes of this, and it does not work for me, so I'm placing this one in 17th. But I still, this is kind of the area of the scoreboard where I feel like, yeah, these songs are fine. There's not something inherently wrong with them. It's just that they don't connect with me that much. And I guess I could say the same for the song I've put in 16th here, I Feel Alive, from Israel back in 2017, with Imri, who is obviously not the greatest vocalist we've had in Eurovision. I do seem to recall a little voice crack in his opening verse, and quite a shaky performance all around. It tries to do a lot in terms of choreography and the flames and whatnot on stage. A nice performance in that sense, but vocally quite flawed. The song is quite predictable. It has a nice little instrumental break in the middle that I like. I like the energy of the track as well. It feels quite punchy and somewhat accessible, I would say. I can imagine a lot of people just being like, yeah, this is okay. But I don't think it's much more than okay. And the performance, of course, drags it down for me. So I'm placing that one in 16th. Just behind the song that is the oldest from this list, I guess you would say, On aura le ciel, which was a French song back in 2000. I actually was not aware that this one finished so low down on the scoreboard back in 2000. It was second to last, and I think that's a bit harsh. However, it is arguably one of the more anonymous songs on the whole list here. There's not a lot about it that stands out. It's just a very little pleasant tune and not a lot more. Vocally decent. The flow of the track is quite nice. The chorus is mellow and sweet. It just doesn't have anything that really brings a lot of identity to the track, I suppose, and that's kind of where it falls back, And I guess you could say similar things about If My World Stopped Turning, that I have in 14th, from 2004, the Irish song there. Quite a sweet tune, really. I'm kind of a sucker for these old Westlife ballads or whatnot. With, it's a very simple and straight to the point kind of instrumentation they go for. There's some mellow percussion in there, mainly piano driven, sweet little vocals with a backing group that just kind of adds a little very simple harmony. But everything about it is that kind of simplicity that just makes something pleasant, and I enjoy listening to this. It's not turning my head or anything. It's not turning my world either. So my world has stopped turning, I suppose. But it's all around just fine. Not superbly engaging or exciting, but pleasant. And I think that's enough to be placed in 14th place here on my list. So I'm going with that. Going to the top half, though, This song next up. In 13th place, I've gone with Chacun pense à soi, another French little song here from 2005. I would have loved to put this way higher on the list because I think this is honestly quite a little pop banger. It's very, very catchy. It's straight to the point. The beat is infectious. It's a very addictive listen. Like if you just listen to the recap clip, it's a song that gets stuck in here and just does not leave. And I like the kind of choreography they're going for as well. The thing that holds this song back massively is during the performance, the vocals are just simply not that convincing. And that is really the only thing that holds this one back, because the other 12 songs, I have to put them above because I can't justify having this one above the others here. I think this is a very catchy song. I like listening to it a lot. I think it's addictive, but the performance is what it is, and that puts it down in 13th for me. And we're finally getting into something very, very modern. I think just looking at the list of the songs down here, the modern songs are very, very strong, all of them. 12th place, I'm going with Veronica from Slovenia back in 2024, of course, not that long ago. Mainly because I think it's a bit much. With the performance, I'm actually still to this day, I'm a little bit surprised of its qualification. I think it's probably quite warranted that it qualified because vocally it's very kind of noteworthy and memorable in that sense. I just never really enjoyed the presentation of the song. I feel like the staging was quite a letdown. Not really sure what the purpose of it is supposed to be. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments. But it's just always been one of these. Well, always, I say it as if it's been as if it was competing 20 years ago. But I just never really clicked with what they were going for with it. Atmospherically, I think this song is very cool, and it has a pretty strong production to it as well. It's just one of these songs that I never return to for whatever reason, and the performance dragged it down for me personally. Unfortunately, I would rather listen to it in a studio cut than watch the performance. And that's not the most common thing when it comes to Eurovision for me. I usually love watching the performances, but this one just never worked for me. So I'm placing it down in 12th here. 11th place, I'm going with a song that I think a lot of people, kind of think is a bit absurd or whatnot. Norway sent On My Own back in 2001, and I will understand if people think it's just way too much and whatnot, but I'll have to stand by the fact that I think this is a very strongly performed song in terms of the vocal performance for sure. It's overly dramatic for sure. It's ridiculously so. However, at the same time, it is a very memorable chorus that I do quite like. I think the power is definitely there, and vocally it's so well done as well that I just like a lot of aspects of it, even though it's kind of laughably overdramatic in a way, which is why I'm placing it down in 11th here. But I still like a lot of aspects about this. Just keep it in my top half, keep it close to the top 10 there, and I think it's somewhat warranted, at least to my subjective preference. So I'm going with that. And staying within the little Nordic region of countries, we got a Danish song at the end of the top 10 here, which should have known better. Very sweet tune. Love the drumming of this track. I think it's quite a nice presentation as well with the little band. It feels very cute and inviting, quite charming, and very, very harmless mainly. A sweet little tune, a little bit sing-along friendly as well, and quite memorable in that sense. But in the midst of all of the other songs, it is unfortunately quite uneventful as well. It's enough to have a pleasant tune, but it's not a particularly exciting one. So for pleasantries, plus, but I think the other 9 that I have above it are more engaging for me, which is why they're above. And starting with one of those, in 9th place, I'm going with Tu Canción, which was the Spanish song back in 2018, which I've always found to be very sweet. I did prefer it in its studio cut, actually. Like when they revamped this song, I very much enjoyed it because they added quite a lot of touches in terms of like piano motifs in there. It felt like the progression of the track was more warranted. The presentation is like on stage with the staging and the performance. It is a bit too much with just how lovey-dovey they are, and it can kind of rub me the wrong way at times. At the same time, I kind of like them in a way, and I think mainly like her vocals are brilliant from start to finish for sure, and I kind of like his vocal style as well. It's a unique little approach, but it just works to my ears. and I very much enjoy how everything comes together within the song. I think it's very pleasant. I think it's very pretty. It's a bit much in the performance, like them their chemistry wise, but you know what? I quite enjoy it. And I also quite enjoy Home from Israel back in 2019 when they hosted, of course. Kobe here obviously poured his heart out and was very emotional towards the end of the track, and a lot of people may have made funny memes and whatnot about that. I feel like 2019 was a little bit of a meme-worthy year. There are a lot of Eurovision memes made from 2019, aren't there? But yeah, Home is a song that I really enjoy. I'm not sure if I just don't really think the revamp they made was quite necessary. I don't really like that kind of approach they took in the instrumentation on the revamp. Still, melodically, I'm very fond of this. I think the vocals are strong. They could be a bit much. I would understand that if someone thinks that. But it speaks to me somewhat, and I think it's quite neatly arranged and sung. So, pretty little effort there, I would say, and one that I can absolutely return to, and I think was quite nice. And in 7th place, we got Med Hekendi Sol, which was the Icelandic song back in 2022. Not the most, exciting one here either. It's all about the ambience and lying into the atmospheric touches of this track that I think are very, very strong. So, that kind of just works in its favor vocally. Very competent. I like them together as a group. I think they work together very nicely in their harmonization, in how they are synchronized on stage as well. The lighting is gorgeous on stage, really, and it's definitely just a song that feels quite engaging in terms of its atmosphere. So I very much enjoy that one. It's melodically perhaps not something that I return to, and it's not one of these that pop up in my head, but executed very nicely, and with the performance that it had, it completely makes sense why it qualified to the final. But I guess I never really expected it to finish higher than 23rd, so it feels like it can belong in the list of some other really good songs here that we have left, in my opinion anyway. I've got Love from Lithuania back in 2009 up in 6th place here. Really enjoyed the atmosphere again about this track. I think the piano work is nice. There's a little bit of suggestive percussion in here. It feels very much like a thing of its time with, a little bit of Justin Timberlake vibes, I suppose. Maybe I'm the only one drawing that comparison, but for some reason that's just the way I'm thinking about it. I like the staging of this track as well. The piano is obviously a nice touch. He's doing his little fire trick with his hand as well, which is, a memorable little tacky detail, along with his styling. I think it's just a song that flows quite nicely. I think that's the main thing. And the production sounds really strong for being 2009, I would say, still today. I'm quite fond of the Lithuanian song from 2009, and maybe would have liked it to finish just a tad higher on the scoreboard. I'm not sure, maybe a little bit. Speaking of that, I think the same would apply to probably Birth of a New Age here, which was the Dutch host entry, of course, in 2021. A very fun song, very catchy, very sing-along friendly, quite charming, very inviting, I would say. Memorable. A lot of people made fun of the chorus line because it sounds like he's saying broccoli a lot, which kind of defeats the point, I suppose, a little bit of the song, because it is obviously, it has a lot of it has a strong message behind it, which I guess doesn't really come across as much as they probably would have wanted it to, but I'm personally quite engaged by it, and I think it's a very neatly presented tune. Like the kind of approach they're going instrumentally with it as well. It stands out for sure. It has character, has an identity, great vocals, and I like it. I like it quite a bit. Something I like a little bit more, though, of course, that's up in 4th place, is an Irish song called It's For You with Niamh Kavanagh, returning to Eurovision 17 years after her win, with a beautiful ballad, really. I love the little flute section it has in the middle. I love the staging. The lighting is gorgeous. Her vocal performance is brilliant, really. And while the song maybe does not develop as much as I would have liked it to, it's still very beautifully written, and a song that I always just really enjoy listening to when I see the performance as well. And I think it's warranted to have it as high up as 4th place on this list. Just behind the song from 2013, which was L'Enfant et Moi. All of these French songs, the titles are gonna gonna ruin me in my pronunciations, but this is a super cool track. It really is. The guitar work is strong, the percussion is very decisive and distinct. There's a lot of attitude in this track, and I think the performance matches that very nicely. The staging feels a bit empty, which holds it back a little bit. It was first in the running order, which I think also had an impact on its finishing result. But the song is a cool one, I think. I love the attitude of it. I think it's straight to the point. It's punchy, it's quite gritty. The guitar work is nice, and her on stage is brilliant as well. Third place is what I'm going for here. Just behind two of the most recent songs that we've gotten into this selection. The second place, I'm going with the most recent song we've added to our 23rd placed songs, which is Hallucination from Denmark. Progressive little house tune, which, you know, it's maybe not the most contemporary thing anymore, but it's a genre that I'm a sucker for, and I just loved having this song in the selection. I'm so glad that it qualified. I think the performance is rather strong vocally as well. Love the lighting on stage, and I just love the kind of drive that the song has. It's the energetic choruses, they really work for me. I think this is a lovely little effort from Denmark, and I'm so glad it brought them back to the final. I really am. And it fits very... It's just, I think it deserves to be towards the top of this list because I just really enjoy this. I've listened to it quite a lot, actually. But I've listened to Ai Coração even more, which is my favorite song out of the ones on today's list. A lot of flair, a lot of passion, a lot of, you know, just traditional influences, and a straight, like, a proper identity to a track. It stands out so much. The performance from Mimikat, mainly just vocally, and her charisma on stage, it's out of this world. I'm still sad that they did not bring the couch with them to... was this the year when it was in Liverpool? Yes, it was. I wish they would have brought the couch to Liverpool. I also wish they would have sent a Festa to Liverpool, but I'm very glad with Ai Coração as well, obviously, since it's my number one here. I think it's brilliant. I love the energy of it. I love the flair that it has. The progression of the track is so cool. The flow works wonders. It's highly energetic, highly immersive, a wonderful little entry, and it's the best song that I've finished in 23rd place in Eurovision from the year 2000 to 2025, in my opinion. Now, please let me know what your opinion is, because that's the end of my list. You can see it all around me here. Maybe it looks entirely different to yours. It probably does. So let me know. How would your list look like if you want to share all of it? Maybe you just want to share top 5. That's fine as well. I'd be interested to know, though, and see how far off I am from the general opinion. Hopefully as well, of course, that I will see you tomorrow again, where we will talk about the 22nd placed songs from 2000 to 2025. I have no idea what songs those are. I haven't really prepared, but I'm looking forward to checking it out and ranking those songs as well. Hopefully I'll see you there. Take care for now, though, and bye-bye.